Hello, beautiful ones. Hello again. I wanted to make a video about relationships and situations, habits that we stay in because we're used to, doing things a certain way. We've been doing things a certain way for so long. Maybe you've been drinking or smoking, or I don't know, you have a habit that doesn't necessarily serve you and it doesn't necessarily help you right now. And yet we continue to do it, and we've all done it. It's not like there's only there's any of us are here like perfect and we're like we've never done anything bad. We've all have had habits and have been in situations that were we consider dysfunctional, out of harmony, and even toxic. And I think that's something that a lot of us have a lot of experience with, whether it be with growing up in families that are like that, or just being out in the world, right? you can't kind of help but encounter all kinds of people out there. So a lot of us get stuck in like these patterns because we're trying to fill like a void. We feel we have a void in us, a space that needs to be filled, and so we start looking for external things to fill it. Oh, the sun! To start kind of to start just to fill those holes, right? To plug in those holes. And so what do? We use food, sex, relationships, anything that you can think of, really. I mean, that's the crazy thing. You can even overdo exercise. You can even overdo meditation. You can try to run away from this moment by just meditating and not having to deal with what's going on. So there's a lot of things that we can use, and it's not even that the things that we're using are bad, but it's that we're using them for the wrong reasons, because what we're trying to do is fill ourselves and complete ourselves somehow and have the answers that we're looking for, and yet we end up going the opposite direction, because the truth, and as I have said many times, and I'm not the only one that has said it, obviously this has been said over and over and over and over. We are one, and this void that we're trying to fill, that we're trying to plug, is actually us yearning for our own source, our own being, that is, like I've said, it's always calling out to you, it's always reaching out to you, and it's like it's reaching out to you for you to look within, and yet you look outside and look. This is all part of the play. There's no condemnation. There is nothing wrong. We've all done things to try to, pacify our feelings, and that's okay. We have to do what we have to do to get by sometimes, especially when you're dysregulated, or you're going through a difficult time in your life, or you've had a lot of trauma in your life. I'm not a therapist. What I talk about is just from my experience, from observation, and just from being part of the human collective, and just going through so much myself. So, but if you are in need and you're needing help, and you feel the call to get some help, I definitely encourage, whether it be you getting checked up, or going to a therapist, or whatever your beliefs are, if you're going through it right now. So, and I mean, that's at any time, really. So in regards to relationships, I wanted to actually talk about romantic relationships, because those are interesting. There are mirrors, and there are mirrors both in good and bad ways, right? So when you meet someone and you see all the different beautiful aspects of them that you like, and you're almost like immersed in that, you love that, you love them, you can't get enough of them, right? That's you seeing an aspect of yourself. That's you having the opportunity to fall in love with yourself. But that person will also mirror things about yourself that you don't like, things about yourself that you would rather turn away from, and that can trigger a lot of things within us, and it does. So, you know, that's why romantic relationships are so important. But what I found in my experience is that a lot of us look for romantic relationships to fill in that hole, to complete us, you know, to make us feel loved, because maybe if we are seen as worthy and lovable, then maybe we will be, you know. But it's not that you have to be seen and lovable by someone else. It's you that has to come to that realization that you are beautiful, that you are enough, that you are loved, that there's nothing for you to plug in. You know, that hole, or whatever people feel that they have inside of them, that space, that yearning, you can only feel that with your own light, with your own source, with your own love. It's not up to someone else to feel you. It's not up to someone else to complete you or even to love you. It's your job to do so. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with being, you know, having a relationship where you're loved, you know, and you have a harmonious, loving relationship. But how many of us, you know, jump into relationships and, you know, we don't even know the person, and then we end up like having sex with them, and then you're like emotionally and energetically entangled. And I don't want to talk too much about sex, but because I don't know what that is right now. But I hope all you guys are enjoying it. Enjoy it for me. So sex. Okay, so sex isn't just a physical thing. Sex is an energetic thing. And this might be kind of crazy to hear, but whenever you're having sex with someone, you're having sex with every other person that they had sex with. Now, on a physical level, it's the case where, like, if a person has an STD, then they got it from someone else. You're getting it, you know what I mean? In that way, but also energetic. There's this huge energetic exchange that happens when you have sex with someone. So it's very important that before you do that, you make sure that you want to energetically entangle with that person, because you may not want to. No matter how much you like them, you know, in the beginning, we see people, we're like, oh, you know, all lovey-dovey. We don't see this. We don't see the reality sometimes of them. It takes like a few months for you to be able to really see what they're all about. Because, you know, people a lot of times put on their perfect face right in the beginning, and then you start to see other aspects of themselves, and they start to see other aspects of you. But by the time that people have gotten to really know each other, they've already gotten energetically, emotionally entangled. And now it's super hard. It's super difficult. And, you know, I say that everything serves us, and it really does. I have yet to experience something that has not been of service to me one way or another. And it's not necessarily that it's at every experience you have to, like, it's a lesson, but there's maybe something there that we need to look at. And so for me, that's been the case, that everything that's ever happened has been very helpful to me. It's allowed me to become who I am. It's allowed me to understand. And although a lot of things that have happened have been very, very difficult, I have found that my greatest teachers are actually those relationships, not the books, you know, not even the spiritual teachers or anything else. It's been those relationships, you know, not just romantic, but all kinds of relationships that we have with our families, with our friends, with our coworkers, with neighbors, with, you know, people at the grocery store. So I learned a lot from a lot of different relationships, and you know, we all do, actually. We all have the opportunity to. We may not realize it. And a lot of us learned from a young age that maybe we grew up in a home that was abusive, in a home where you were disrespected, you were talked down to, and then we go ahead and we get into relationships where they do the same thing. And it's like in some ways we don't think we deserve better. We're so used to it. And obviously I'm oversimplifying it, right? Because there's a lot more to it. But we get into those relationships and we learn from those relationships. We really do. We learn from those relationships. But the thing is that you don't have to be in those relationships over and over and over for you to learn the lesson. And that's what I learned, is until I got the point, I thought I was dating different people. I wasn't dating different people. I was dating the same person in different bodies. It was kind of crazy to realize that. Just seeing the similarities. And it's not until, you know, you you have to kind of stop and see those patterns and choose higher, choose something different, choose something for yourself, because you realize that you deserve better. You realize that you deserve someone who respects you and who treats you respectfully and lovingly and kindly and compassionately, and not, you know, not the opposite. And I know a lot of us, like I said, have grown up in environments where people just talk down to each other or were verbally abusive to each other, and just got used to it. And it's like, we ourselves need to learn not to be that way. And we also have to, you know, learn not to be with people that disrespect us or that treat us badly. You know, at some point, like, at some point you have to pull your hands out of the fire. You know, at some point you have to be like, enough is enough, I deserve better. But, you know, for some of us that have been through different traumas and have like other things going on internally, we tend to attract certain type of people and tend to get into relationships with people that sometimes where it's like, it's almost like our internal like compass is broken, you know. And so we're choosing people that are not good for us. We're missing all the red flags. And there's a lady that I'm gonna put down on the bottom that is really amazing. She talks a lot about dating and